Around 6 p.m., Mom and I went to the Willow Inn for a karaoke night, during which I sang a total of 6 songs. The first of which was Yellow by Coldplay, then Yellow Submarine by the Beatles, then Clocks by Coldplay, then Suddenly Seymour by Ashman Howard, then King of the Road by Roger Stone. Initially, for that song, in its place, I was going to sing Strange Love by the Goo Goo Dolls. And before that, I sang Iris, Iris, by the Goo Goo Dolls, as per a suggestion by Mom. And then for the last song, I sang Day After Day by Badfinger. I believe that's a total of 7 songs, now that I think about it. Although, while I sang Clocks by Coldplay, the DJ host's computer did a Windows update, causing an error in which the karaoke lyrics failed to appear on screen for a while. I don't practice the lyrics of these songs since I'm not exactly aiming to be a professional singer. I go to karaoke nights in order to spend time with my mom and the people that regularly go to karaoke nights at the Willow Inn. Yeah, for part of the song, I kind of just went, since, again, I didn't really know the lyrics, since I invested no time in practicing that. It was around roughly 8 p.m. that I got the chicken, I think it was pasta soup, a bowl of that, and it came with some oyster crackers for about $5. It was pretty good, and it was about 9:30 p.m. that I got this order of what are supposed to be deep fried pretzel sticks with queso, but they ran out of queso, so they instead gave honey mustard. of which it's pretty good. I might dip some of this leftover piece of that, what was intended to be a cup and char pepperoni with bacon calzone that I got from Salvatore's as part of their Thursday daily special. Dad took me to Salvatore's after some driving practice on his route. Either the current one or the old one, I'm not entirely sure at this point. And then, after going to Salvatore's, during which our bartender, someone we usually don't see, suggested I try something she called a root beer float, but since Salvatore's doesn't really have any ice cream, that got substituted for with some rum chata, which is a pretty strong, on the alcohol scale. Dad said it's a 40% by volume hard liquor. He didn't say the hard liquor part. I think that's just how something that's 40% by volume is defined. It did taste pretty close to a root beer float, especially after letting it settle for some time, as I tend to sip at alcoholic drinks. Although that's also true to an extent for coffee. If it's freshly hot, and kombucha. This calzone ended up having regular pepperoni, but it's no big deal. The driving lessons before Salvatore's, Dad said I did better that time. There was a point in which I kind of got spooked and kind of froze when a bus was coming our way on the other side of the road as we were coming up a turn, so I think Dad ended up having to make that turn for me. When I'm in the driver's seat, he's in the front passenger seat, so he can make necessary turns and tell me when to either slow down or speed up, but his way of saying speed up could be gas, and his way of saying slow down could be brake sometimes. And then Dad took me on some driving practice after Salvatore's, uh, during which the Salvatore's trip, Dad got his usual beer, and we didn't get fried dough as we usually get. At Salvatore's, because he felt that getting a calzone and fried dough would be getting too much dough. I had just gotten used to us getting fried dough on every single Salvatore's visit, so that's why I said and fried dough following Dad mentioning us getting calzones. I was pretty amazed by how big the calzone ended up being. This is just maybe about a quarter to a third of it. I ate roughly half of the original calzone before I decided I needed a box, since I didn't feel like eating the whole calzone at once. The driving lessons after Salvatore's, and Dad took me out for driving lessons in Salvatore's around 3 p.m. I got up around 1:30 p.m. Mom prepared some ramen. I assume you prepare ramen by boiling water. The driving lessons after Salvatore's involved essentially taking the back roads, since that's the unfamiliar route to getting to Mom's place. And I managed it just fine. There was a point in which we nearly hit some small obstacle, something I would describe as a small thin tree. Luckily, Dad was paying attention and managed to turn away in time. I'm thinking that based off that, I need to improve my handling of the steering wheel. Although I have so far improved enough to get off the parking lots and essentially to be ready practicing on live streets. Which is a whole nother ballpark from parking lots, since there's a whole lot more things to consider. such as the actions of other drivers. Also, I have a tendency to apply slight sudden taps to the brakes and gas pedals rather than applying a gentle pressure. That's something I'm trying to work on. Supposedly there's a sweet spot pressure amount for the gas pedal where if you apply that amount of pressure, you'll be able to maintain your speed. But I haven't figured that out yet. So far, it either causes some acceleration or some deacceleration, and then I have to apply more pressure. I was able to ease into stops pretty well on the after Salvatore's driving to Mom's house. And Dad has told me as such that I'm getting better. I don't really feel the sudden accelerations and deaccelerations unless I'm in the front passenger seat. I don't really feel them when I'm in the driver's seat, but Dad feels them. He's told me that it drives him nuts, which is understandable because they're sudden, but that's something to work on. At some point while we were at the Willow Inn, an older man who I assumed was a firefighter based off the coat he was wearing, the light coat. And I also asked him as such if he's a firefighter, and he said he was. And that he's also a police officer. To which I wondered how you could fit both of those jobs in. I assume that means being primarily a police officer and then volunteering as a firefighter whenever you have days off from that. But I didn't ask that kind of question, so I can't be 100% sure about that. There was a point in which he tried to give his firefighter coat just one of those commemorative coats that I guess they give you for a long and fulfilled career as a firefighter or a volunteer firefighter. I was weirded out by both the suddenness of that decision to give away the coat, plus it seemed important, like something valuable, because again, it's a coat given out for being a firefighter, and you can't just get another one of those coats. And all I had really done was ask if he was a firefighter, and at another point I said that I like firefighters because they have pretty cool uniforms, and the vehicles they drive are also pretty interesting. I, at one point, thanks to my sister, got to ride inside a fire engine when I was very young. I'm thinking early elementary school young. Don't want to say preschool or kindergarten. It wasn't that early. But maybe it was first or second grade around that time. I didn't feel like I had really done anything to deserve to be given someone's firefighter coat, and Mom felt the same way, so we just left it at the bar in case he changes his mind or something to that effect. The styrofoam drawing I was working on at the time was not intended to necessarily be a firefighter. And this older man was different from the older man that says I have a good singing voice. Rather, the styrofoam drawing I was working on is intended to be a Hispanic man who I gave a mustache and a soul patch style goatee. I think a soul patch is what you call a small goatee. That's primarily under your bottom lip. But no 5 o'clock shadow. I got one alcoholic drink at the Willow Inn. It was cranberry juice with the spiced rum Captain Morgan mixed in. This is a glass of Niagara grape sparkling juice from Wegmans. After the Captain Morgan cranberry drink, I just had water with ice in it. The Willow Inn tends not to have specialty cocktails, unlike other places such as Salvatore's and BTB. So I don't really have many options when it comes to trying out Cocktails at the Willow Inn.